all of that. That'd be fun.
Historic.
Oh, that's going to be expensive. So how do we do that? Well, apparently Andrew had the idea. I got an idea. How about if we take everything that you can get your hands on and dump it on the Warriors to win the championship? And months later, they found themselves 6, 7, 8 guys strong, I can't tell. We'll ask Andrew, in Warrior jerseys, walking around St. Andrews with a ton of cash to pay for the whole thing. Does that sound somewhere like the way the story went, Andrew?
I'd say you hit the nail on the coffin. It pretty much was a one-off deal. I watch every Warriors pregame and every minute of every game for 9 years now since I lived in the Bay back in 13, and fell in love with this team. It's so much fun to watch. And halfway through the year, we put a little bit of money on them before the year started, just nothing I could pay for a trip. But when it got to November and December and those boys were rolling, and I knew Klay Thompson was coming back, I'm like, guys, they're still 6-1 down in Iowa. We got to grab it now before they're 2 or 3-1. I mean, they look that good, and with Klay coming back, the optimism was there in my mind.
So how does that work? You convince the guys, and now you got to drive to Iowa to get down on the Warriors at 6-1. When did this happen? Was it January, February? And did you pool the money in a big pillowcase and make the drive?
It was we had some people PayPal. Well, there's 4 of us live in Minneapolis, and you can't professional gambling's not legal in Minnesota, so we had to make the 90-minute drive down 35W to. It's a small little town, I can't even think of it, but a little casino called Diamond Joe where they have a FanDuel sportsbook, and they have 28 kiosks, and it's legal there. And so we pooled together. I think it was roughly about 6,000, and we hit them as many times as we could at 6-1. And I don't have the exact number, but it paid off around 31, 32,000 somewhere in there, and I knew that was enough to cover a good chunk of the trip. I wouldn't say it got it all. It gets expensive traveling overseas.
Andrew, you went to Diamond Joe with PayPal money? Is that what you did? You dirty dog. That's what you did, didn't you?
And some cash too. But yeah, you know PayPal. Yeah, they take it all down there. So
that's so good.
Hey, from a fellow PayPaler, but that's because of my own problems with Venmo. Why not Venmo? You guys are still PayPaling? What's going on here?
Oh, it might have been Venmo. My problem was some of the guys don't. One guy lives in Arizona, one in Fargo. Like they couldn't make the trip down.
Nice.
Only 4 of the 7 of us went down there, and we needed to get the cash in our hands on this end to make the trip down there.
My parents used to live in Forest Lake, so I know all about the 35W and the 35E and where they join up right there at about Anoka, if I'm not mistaken.
That is so funny because one of the 7 in our group is from Forest Lake, played basketball at Forest Lake, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, nice little town. Sue and Dwayne, rest in peace. So the Warriors are doing it, and they're going through, and you're taking on Memphis, and it's looking a little bit difficult. And then they fall down to Boston 2-1. Was there any thought about heading back down 35W to Iowa for a hedge bet?
There was thoughts at many points in my mind, but I said, you know what, we can't pay for it if we hedge too much off. We got to wait till the finals at the very least. And my wife and I are actually season ticket holders for the Warriors, so we flew to San Francisco for Game 1, and obviously that was a devastating fourth quarter and kind of ruined our great trip we had up until that point. And so going home, I was just distraught. I'm like, we're the better team. I just like, something's going to click. Something's going to click. Like it always does with Warriors in playoffs. And sure enough, that second half that Curry and the boys put together in Game 4 gave me the mindset that we got this. And we ended up, I want to say, when they went up, when it got to 2-2, I think we did put $2,000 on a hedge, but very, very small amount of what the overall grand scheme of things was.
We're talking to Andrew Beliveau. His story is told originally on golf.com, group of guys. How many guys was it? 7 guys, 8 guys? How many guys?
Yep. 7 college roommates.
All right.
Been buddies for, 18 years now.
Yeah, and you're all in Warriors jerseys out there in St. Andrews because of this idea, but we got to back up for a second because I can feel the listeners right now going, what's up with this guy? You're out there in Minnesota, and you still got the accent, but you're a season ticket holder. You used to live in the Bay. You're flying back and forth to games. What's going on here, Andrew? What's your deal?
Well, the story is with the Looney jerseys is one of the our text chain has been blowing up since Looney was drafted by the Warriors back. I want to say it was 16. I've always been a fan of his game, and I thought he was instrumental in the Western Conference Finals against Houston back. I think it was 17. I thought he was the sole reason why we won that series. And so we have our text string, and it blows up about Warriors basketball because I'm a diehard. I live and breathe every play. But and Loon is the number one name we talk about. I always call him the key. And so now, over the years, anytime we talk about the key for anything else, we call it the Loon. So the Loon is the new key, and it's like, and he played so well in the playoffs in those, especially the last two series. I mean, getting those rebounds and just the little things you need to win championships. So that's where that came from. And we didn't even have a plan to bring these jerseys. And we show up at the airport in Minneapolis Airport on Tuesday before we left, and our buddy has a gift for us. He goes, I took some of the winnings from because he went down there and cashed the tickets down in Iowa for us. He goes, I took some of the winnings and bought these Loon jerseys. Let's wear them out at the home of golf. We're like, we got to do that, It's like, and we didn't think it'd be a big deal. It does help finding each other with 7 guys amongst 200,000 people when you stand out like a sore thumb. That was kind of the primary reason. And then all of a sudden we're watching Rory McIlroy, and some guy started talking to us, and my buddy goes, you won't believe the story. And he goes, shoot me. And that was the golf.com guy. And he goes, this story is going up immediately. This is too good. And we're like, okay. We didn't expect anything out of it. So
no, it's incredible. I mean, to have one Looney jersey, let alone 7 in a row, it obviously resonated out here in Golden State Warrior country. So tell us, how was the trip? I know you had a little bit of chicken on Rory, which is disappointing on the back end, but how was the trip overall being at St. Andrews for this historic weekend?
It was hard to describe. I think the weather, everyone was saying, I agreed, the weather was just the best you could possibly have had. It was, the highest wind was maybe 15 mile an hour. The most rain was maybe 2 hours, and it was warm every day. I packed all pants and like 2 pairs of shorts, and I ended up just re-wearing the shorts every single day because it was just warm for, not warm in a sense, but warm for there. The people there are just out of this world. It's the best culture. I call it the best culture I've ever went to, and I just can't believe the hospitality. I mean, all these people were talking. We brought those shirts out there. I bet we had 100 comments from people in the first 10 minutes. Paul Gasol saw us, former Laker and champion, and he wanted a selfie with one of our guys. I mean, that's how much they love these jerseys. It literally was all positive comments until about the back 9 on Saturday. I would say it turned a little salty with some. They were like, the Warriors, go Celtics, go, when they got a little tuned up towards the later part of the day. So we were a pro crowd early, and I would say it was a 50-50 split down the stretch on Saturday.
Oh, my gosh. This is such a great story. By the way, can we go on a quick aside real quick? Andrew, can you take us inside your world when the news broke that the Warriors were keeping Kevon Looney?
Absolutely had to have it. I was so bummed about the GP news going to Portland. And at that point I go, if we don't keep Looney, that's just 2 of our absolute crucial pieces, And I know Bob Myers is always good about going out and getting someone else, but I'm always a fan of rolling with what's working, man. I mean, just talk of the Durant trade, I don't want anything to do with it as a fan. Like I like this team as is, and I'd like to try to win 3 or 4 in a row.
And a former T-Wolf, Andrew Wiggins, on your Golden State Warriors. What was the Minnesota reaction like when Minnesota dealt him to Golden State a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm a Timberwolves season ticket holder too, just because I live here now since 2018, and I actually bought the Timberwolves season tickets because I wanted to make sure I had good seats when the Warriors came into town both times, in a season. That was my primary reason of getting them. So I'd watch Wiggins a bunch with Minnesota. Actually met his dad over at Lifetime and talked to him a bunch because he would see me in my Warriors shirt, and he'd go, why Warriors? Why not Timberwolves? So I got to know Mitch Wiggins at Lifetime. And then when the trade went down, I talked to him, and he goes, this is the best thing ever for Andrew's career. And I said, I agree. I think it's a perfect fit.
Hey, Andrew, you a billionaire or something? What the hell's going on here, man?
No. Just running to the right people at the right time.
You got season tickets to are you a Sixers season ticket holder too?
Orlando Magic, maybe?
What's going on right now?
Once COVID hit and there was too much uncertainty with buying and selling, I dropped my Timberwolves tickets, but I still have I only have one seat out in the Bay because when I lived there, my wife worked full time and I could work from home, so I had much more flexibility to go to the games. I lived there from 13 to 17 or 18. So I bought a single ticket knowing that I go to most of these games by myself. I would go to 20, 22 games a year when I was there. And then once I got in the stadium, I'm like, I'm not giving up my seat. I want to be a part of this thing. So I still have it. And I get out to 4 to 5 games a year. It's not as easy as it once was.
So were you not a Warrior fan until like 10 years ago?
To be honest with you, that's a fair statement. When I moved there in 13, I'm a diehard NBA fan in general. I went to a game at Oracle, and absolutely. I knew who. I mean, I watch a lot of sports, so I'm very familiar with it. But like Warriors were probably one of my top 5 favorite teams. But when I went in person and saw how much fun Steph and Clay are to watch, and Draymond's fury, I'm like, the year I started watching, Draymond had not quite peaked yet, but Clay and Steph just bombing these threes in the crowd the way it was at Oracle. I'm like, all of a sudden, my wife's like, "Why are you watching all these Warrior games?" I'm like, well, once I got sucked in, I literally watched every second of every game.
Now, it's pretty exciting. We're lucky to have him out here. So the big question, and it's a two-parter, where's the next guys trip, and is there a fallback for the plan in case you guys don't make a nice winning bet again next year?
Well, funny you ask. We the original article, we had mentioned to the guy on Saturday afternoon that we had bet 6 guys in the for the British Open just for smaller money because we wouldn't want to risk what we had. But in golf, you get really good odds on players, and we put a bunch on Rory McIlroy at 12-1, and then we also bet on Cameron Smith. We had 1,000 at 25-1 on him. So we actually came out of there not as good as Rory would have been, but that pretty much covered the British Open trip. So we still got the assets in the bank, and we're going to go down to Alabama at Ole Miss this fall. That's the plan, and then who knows from there.
Unbelievable.
So good.
Unbelievable.
By the way, bet Alabama and lay the points in case you guys are looking to double that town.
We probably will. But it's in the Grove, and they say the Grove is like the number 1 tailgate spot. We've done a couple others, but they say the Grove is a can't-miss spot. So that's the plan.
If somebody calls in sick to your guys' trip, I know a couple of people here who could probably pinch hit.
Or could we at least get in the text chat? Like, what's
Seriously.
Can we?
It's a tight group. I don't even let my dad, and I don't let my father.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll keep trying to prove our worth.
Yeah.
Andrew, what a story, man. Congratulations. Whole lot of fun. Thanks for talking to us.
You got it. Thank you for the time, for sure.
All right.